Big E, Merlin, back on the channel, on our new channel.
What? A new channel?
A new channel. Full-time Bodybuilding TV is here, you guys. And
wow. Yeah.
I wanted to have Big E here because we're going to start posting his great knowledge video on a regular basis. He's also on Muscle and Fitness Plus.
Yes.
So you can see him right now. But today I wanted to kind of go back in time a little bit. I mean, we've been filming together, God, I think since 2016.
No, before that it was like 2014.
14, is it? Man,
yeah, so we're doing almost about 7 years now.
Time goes by quickly.
And on a bunch of different platforms.
Yeah, we were MD at first, and then
Muscle Insider. Digital Muscle.
That's right. JTV. And now we're on Full-Time Bodybuilding
Now it's ours.
TV.
This is our baby.
So that's great because we can do whatever we want. We can talk about whatever we want. The video can be as long or as short as we want. So I'm sure your fans will be happy to find you on a more regular basis on this new platform. So I wanted to go back in time a little bit and talk about the reason why we started doing this. So obviously, for people who don't know, I did a video with Abis Katami years and years ago. And I was asking him before his contest, I think it was the Australian Pro, and he looked so great. I wanted to know how he got in such a good shape. And he told me, well, I have this new guy I'm working with, Eric Broser. And I said, okay, well, after your show, maybe we can do a video together. So we went to Gold's Gym Venice. Eric came, and I said, brought your trainer, brought your coach. I want to meet him. And that was Eric. And I was so impressed with what I saw on that day. I told Eric, I would like to do a video with you for Muscle Insider, and that's when we started, and we've just been rolling ever since. So I wanted to tell the people why you got started in what you're doing today. At first, you also have your brand new company, Spellbound, which you're wearing a shirt of today. But before we talk about this, I want to kind of go back in time and let people know, in not such a long, video format, why you got started into bodybuilding and why you took such an interest and why you learned everything you learned and all the things you design and why you're doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, well, without making this a 3-hour video.
I know.
Yeah, because I could easily do that. So I got started in bodybuilding simply because I was an extremely skinny kid. I was same height I am now, but just about 6 feet tall. I weighed about 125 pounds and I was so skinny and I couldn't stand being skinny. I was picked on a lot when I was younger in high school, bullied and stuff like that. I was a good athlete. I was a great baseball player, football player. I played tennis. I played a lot of sports. I was a good, I did a lot of martial arts. But physique-wise, I was just a really skinny guy. So I had a friend of mine. His name is Mitchell, and he was my closest friend in New York. He was kind of on the heavy side, and I was skinny. And we just said we wanted to start working out together, and I wanted to get bigger. He wanted to get leaner, and that's what we did. I had a gym in my basement, and actually called it the Lion's Den. We just came up with this name. Put some equipment down there, and we just started training. Didn't really know exactly what we were doing.
How old were you?
This is when we were 16.
Okay.
16 years old, and I had always been, since the time I was young, always fascinated with like comic book superhero physiques. Any movie star or athlete that had I was always into the people who had good physiques. I was into muscle, so it was something that I always wanted to do, and this was just kind of what kicked it off. And so we were just training down there, but I was the kind of person that wanted to know what I was doing. I didn't want to just do haphazard training, so I was reading everything I get my hands on, Arnold Schwarzenegger's book and Franco Columbo's book, Mike Mentzer's books, Arthur Jones, everybody. I just wanted to learn, and I was just soaking up all the knowledge, trying to figure out, what was the best way to go about building muscle. So that's what had my interest was not only in the actual building muscle and getting bigger, but also increasing my knowledge base. So that's what kicked it off for me. A few years later, competed in my first competition. I think I was 19 years old. That same year I won my first show, and that's what made I immediately fell in love with being on stage and being a bodybuilder, so now it kind of got to the next level.
You did your own diets for the show and your own training?
Yeah, I didn't have anybody helping me. Back then, there really wasn't coaches like there are today. Like coaching is, of course, you might ask questions to the big guys in the gym, that you befriend. And so there was a lot of guys in New York. New York was a huge bodybuilding, mecca really back then. So, and it still is. So, there's some people that I would ask, but really I just did my own research and just figured out, what it would take to lose body fat. And, I just experimented. And for my first show, I looked okay. I did decently well. And then I was like, oh, I did something wrong. My body fat wasn't low enough. So then I went into it more. And then in like 6 weeks, I transformed myself and I won my second show. And I just loved it. I just loved the whole process. I loved being on stage. I loved bodybuilding, everything, the posing, the discipline, so now I was really fully on into it. And after doing that for, a few years, and I actually turned pro in natural bodybuilding when I was 21. I won a very, very big show, ironically, in Las Vegas, which turned me pro. And it was around that time that, people started noticing in the gym that, maybe I was doing things a little bit differently, or maybe my training was a little bit more precise. So they started and I saw my physique, getting better and better. So that's when I actually people started asking for my help in preparing for competitions. I still wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to be a coach or anything. There wasn't really coaches. So, I just helped people and it was great, and I seemed to have had a talent for it. And then, from there I became, personal trainer, and I started my own personal training business. I used to go to people's homes all over Long Island, drive my car to people's homes all over the place. I had equipment in the back of my car if they didn't have equipment, and that taught me how to become a really, really good trainer, because sometimes I had to use very limited amounts of equipment to get people results. So I had to increase my knowledge even more, experiment even more with techniques, with different types of programs, with different type of exercises. So it really, really helped me, become, better at what I was doing.
You went to school also for this, right? You studied.
I studied, well, my degree is in psychology, but I had a very, very heavy emphasis on the mind-body connection, which if you guys have watched my videos, you'll know that I put a lot of emphasis on the focus, the concentration, the mind-muscle connection. I believe 100% that if you don't have that connection, you're only going to make a small amount of progress compared to what you can if you really, really learn how to put the mind into the muscle. So I did a lot of stuff I did a lot of kinesiology and exercise science and psychology and physiological psychology, and I just really, really learned how the mind and body is connected, and that also went heavily into influencing the way I would train people, the way I would diet people, and just the type of trainer that I was, because I would engage with people on a psychological level as well as a physical level, and I think that made me a lot more effective. And then, things just evolved from there. I started, working for different supplement companies. I worked for VPX, ALRI, EFX, a whole, Gaspari, so many different companies. And as well, I owned my own gym in New York for almost 5 years, which was a personal training studio, and that became like my lab, literally. I really, really, that's probably where I came up with most of my unique exercises, because again, even though it was a gym, it was a small gym, only like 1,500 square feet, so we only had the basic of equipment, but I also wanted to make sure that I utilized every single piece, to the fullest extent. So I would invent exercises, angles, using, different, using incline bench, using cables, all kinds of different things to hit muscles in different ways than just the standard exercises. And I started writing for the magazines as well. I got my first article in Muscle Mag International, then eventually had columns in Iron Man, Muscular Development, Planet Muscle, Flex, Muscle and Fitness. So
yeah, it's funny because when we first started filming, a lot of people, when I first, heard about you, I was just telling myself, how is it that not everyone knows about this guy? I thought you had so much to offer to the bodybuilding community. But when we started filming, as people start putting a face to the name, they recognize the name because they would read your articles.
Yeah.
They would say, oh, I heard that name before, so that's who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you kind of came to life in the videos, but you've been doing this for decades.
Yeah, and I have probably almost 1,000 published articles, and on various websites and all the magazines. But yeah, like you said, I wasn't. I think it's because, let's just be honest. I was a natural bodybuilder and I was a natural pro bodybuilder, and that's kind of the way I competed. And that was never as, out there as like IFBB bodybuilding. So a lot of people didn't see my face as much as I might see if I was competing NPC and that kind of stuff. So I was kind of like, in the shadows.
In the shadows.
But then once, I had moved out to California and I started going, Gold's Gym Venice, and, you and I started working together. And of course I was around all these pros, and I was in a more, in an area where the mecca of bodybuilding, that's when, things started to really explode, and my career, took off in that, whole other direction, leading to all these different things that we've been doing together. So
yeah, that's awesome. So you were speaking about all the companies you've been with. You've obviously had a lot of experience working with various companies. What made you actually? Hey, I gotta talk to you, champ. Look what you started.
we got a friend.
We're gonna have him on camera soon also. Mr. Olympia.
We could talk about that too.
Oh my God, he's dropping.
This is full-time bodybuilding TV. You never know what's going to happen.
He's dropping some scoop. So you've been with so many different companies. You've had a lot of experience with different companies. Why did you decide to start your own company named Spellbound?
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent question. Okay, well, let's talk about the name Spellbound. Okay, Dave, you know that you are the man responsible for the nickname Merlin.
I'm taking credit.
You must take credit for it because you were the one. I remember you used to say that I was like, when I started working with you, when I kind of changed your whole physique, you were like...
I said you were magic.
You said I was like magic, I was like a magician, and then somehow from there, you were like, should we call you the magician or whatever, and then you just came with, I think we're going to call you Merlin the magician.
It just kind of rolled off the tongue.
And then it just became Merlin. And it's really funny because that nickname, you just, it'd be funny if it was just a nickname, but that nickname really took off.
Yeah.
I've had columns in Flex magazine called Ask Merlin, and it's. I walk into the gym and people will say,
a lot of people will say, "Hey, what's up, Merlin?" I don't even know they know your name is
They
Eric.
may not even know Eric. They know me by Merlin, and it's really become a big thing, and it really caught on. It's really great. So I decided, like I said, I work with a lot of and there's Jen Dory.
Hey, champ.
Like I said, I work with a lot of terrific supplement companies. Had great experiences working with all of them. I always made sure to work with companies that I truly believed in and believed in their products. I never worked with a company where they just offered me a contract. I always said, no, I want to use the products for a while, make sure that I believe in them, that I can really stand behind them. So I was very choosy about who I would work with. But at one point, I was kind of done working with the last company that I was with, which is All Max Nutrition. They went in a different direction, so we split apart. But they were great, had a great time with them. And I was kind of considering, maybe contacting some other companies that, I thought, I might like to work with. And then I talked to an old friend of mine, Dr. Jeff Galini, who owns a facility out in Billings, Montana called AllAmerican Pharmaceutical.
Yeah, great place. We visited it together.
Yeah, we were there. Literally the most amazing manufacturing facility, I think, in the United States, or even one of the best in the world in terms of the purity, the products that they put out are the raw materials. They do so much testing there to make sure there is no contaminants, heavy metals. They make sure that what's on the labels and the bottle, their testing is so stringent. It's really on level with any real pharmaceutical company that's putting out drugs into the medical community. So I worked with him and his company EFX Sports, that's produced out of AllAmerican Pharmaceutical years ago. We've always remained friends. We've always respected each other. And I called him, I was talking to him about the subject, and he said, why don't you start your own brand? He said, you have been in the industry for so long, you have trust, you have integrity, you have a following. I think that you would do great to start a brand. And after talking to him about it, he said, in fact, I'd love to partner with you in this brand. So I took some time to consider it, and then I thought it was a really great idea. because this way I would be working with somebody that I trust, somebody that I respect, and I would know that the products that I'm putting out are literally top of the line, best they can possibly be.
And what you want in it, I'm sure.
Yes, and have somebody to, to work with in creating the products and making sure that they're the best in the industry. So, of course, once we decided that we were going to do this together, we had to come up with a name. And, we were throwing out different names. Nothing was really clicking. And then one day I thought to myself, I have this Merlin nickname. How can I tie it in? And then Spellbound literally jumped into my head. And I said, hey, Jeff, what do you think about Spellbound? He was like, brilliant. So that's the way Spellbound came about. And I did that. I'm doing this for, even though I have worked with such great companies, I've always still wanted to see certain products developed that were based upon what I personally have seen has produced the best results for myself, for my clients, and for people out there that have been in the industry, bodybuilders, whether it be bodybuilders, whether it be athletes, or just highly fitness-oriented individuals. So I believe there are certain ingredients or certain compounds that are the best, certain combinations of ingredients that work the best together in certain dosages and amounts. And I really wanted to be able to develop these very specific products. And that's what allowed me to do this, is having my own company, because this way I wouldn't be promoting a product that somebody else formulated. So it's something that I formulated along with Jeff. And I just want to, I'm not looking to, while it would be amazing to, make millions of dollars doing this, that's not why I did it. I did it more because this way I can stand behind the brand, something that I produce, something that I believe in, something that I know is going to work and that is going to help, people reach their goals. Because let's face it, there's a lot of supplements out there that, there are a lot of hype. They disappoint a lot of people. People work hard for their money. When they put money out, for supplements, to not get any results from them really, really sucks. So, I want people to get results, and I want people to be able to know that what it says on the labels in the bottle, and that there's not going to be anything that shouldn't be in the product that could hurt their health. So
what products do you have so far in the brand? You just started like, how long have you been started?
It was like late summer.
Right. So what products do you have right now, and talk a little bit about it?
I think I have, let me just grab one of them. I think I have it in the bag, so I could just show.
Oh, great.
Just have one of them in here. This way you guys can see the label if you haven't seen it before. So this one here, that's Vanishing Formula. That's my fat burner.
Okay.
But this is the fat burner. I like to call it a metabolism modulator because it's a very unique product. Has one very unique ingredient in it called Lysyme 5, which is what it does is it basically helps to liberate the fat from fat cells and draw it out and put it into the bloodstream. And then there's other ingredients in there that once that fat is liberated from the cell will then take that fat and burn it as energy. So it's a great all-around fat burning product. It also, everybody who tells me that it's, I didn't want it to be too stimulatory, where it makes you crazy. I want it to be more where you just have good, clean energy and good focus from it. People love to use this product, especially before cardio. They said it gets them through the session, feeling great from beginning to end. So that's the fat burner. Then I also have two other products. I have the flagship product, which is Power Potion, which is the pre-workout amplifier. Again, not one of those products that I formulated to be too stimulatory. I have never personally liked products that that had so many stimulants in it to just make me crazy, because to me, that either makes me feel like I have the flu, it makes my heart race, it makes me nauseous, and also I crash very heavily off of that. And I've heard that a million times from so many people that I didn't want to put out a product like that. I wanted to put out a product that would give people the nutrients that their body needs to help them perform better while they're training, and also feeds the muscles what they need while they're training. So that's, Power Potion, fantastic product. And then I have a post-workout recovery product, which is meant to be taken right after the workout. It's called Legendary Recovery, 1 scoop after a workout. That is one of my personal favorites. It's something that I've always wanted to see, but I've never seen it exactly formulated like this, because what that product does is not only helps the recovery process to start, but it actually gets your hormone profile back up to where it needs to be, because the work, training, raises cortisol levels, it lowers testosterone for a while. So it helps to get that hormone profile back to an anabolic environment. Plus also it ignites something called the mTOR pathway, which is our main physiological pathway to growth. So it's one of those products that will allow you to train harder, train longer, and be in the gym more often and make progress. So those are the 3 products that we started with. And again, I hope that as time goes by, I could add more products one by one.
I'm sure more flavors or
more flavors. There's more things that I want to do. I have a vision for the company, but that's where we started, and so far we're rolling along, growing slowly. And
where can people find the products?
Actually, they can be found on Amazon.
Okay.
They're on Amazon, but most people get them from AllAmericanSups.com.
I'll put that in the video.
Yeah, we'll put the direct link to Spellbound, so it's on there. They have a bunch of brands, so you just have to click on Spellbound.
Okay.
And let me just let you guys know, if you decide you want to try them, I have a code.
Oh, good.
Which is Merlin15.
Okay.
And that will get you 15% off the products and free shipping.
Great.
So you can use that code.
Oh, great, free shipping too. Okay.
Yeah, great free shipping as well. And we also have a subscription program. So basically, if you want to, have it automatically delivered for like 3 months or 6 months or a year, you get even more money off. So that's an option as well.
Awesome.
So hopefully you guys will try those products, because they really, truly do work.
All right. Well, Biggie, thanks for being on the first one on this brand.
Well, I guess it makes sense.
On this brand new venture. Guys, please make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell, so every time we put out a new video, you are notified. And then we'll see you again on the next video.
Yeah, I can't wait. There's a lot to come, so watch.